Hey guys, welcome to the Squadcast. Today we'll be talking about Academy-nominated and award-winning film, Birdman. I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, here with me today I have my good friend, Levi Toback. Levi,
what's going on?
Hey.
Hello everybody.
Today we're going to be talking about a little movie that you've all probably heard of at this point, Birdman, which hopefully not everyone has seen, but has seen because we're going to spoil it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely don't listen to this if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, you might want to go see it. Yeah, I mean, you should definitely go see it. I think everybody should see this movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies ever.
So you should watch this up until about this point, and then pause it and go watch the movie, and then return to this.
What you should do is get one of those like 80s style jam boxes that the kids have. Take it to a artsy movie theater on your shoulder and just blast this podcast while listening to the movie. It'll be like Mystery Science Theater meets you getting arrested by the police.
Yeah, people will love that.
They will very much love it. So I saw this movie kind of in a weird way. I thought it was a Wes Anderson film when I first heard about it, so I went in knowing nothing about it. I didn't even know who the director was, obviously. Thought it was Wes Anderson. And up until the end credits, I thought it was a Wes Anderson movie. I was like, man, he's going in a new direction. I really like this. This is really edgy. And then I read the poster and I was like, his name isn't on this poster. What did I just watch? And
what the hell?
Yeah, my whole world got flipped upside down a little bit. And that's what this movie kind of does to you. So immediately after seeing it, I started harassing Levi to go see this movie. And about 6 months later, he finally saw it.
To which I received at least 4, 5, 17 texts telling me to go watch this movie. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it eventually. I mean, I heard it was a good movie. I heard it was nominated for a bunch of stuff, and I totally planned on watching it, but I wasn't expecting whatever the hell I watched.
Yeah, it does that to you. Yeah, I saw it with my girlfriend and her friend, and her friend Brianna actually thought it was a Wes Anderson movie as well. And we were both just really, really confused afterwards. And my girlfriend still, her name's Hannah, she still doesn't really like the movie. It makes her really uncomfortable. I think it's mainly, and the reason I want you to see it this way, Levi, is the sound editing in the movie is really strange. There is a soundtrack through the whole movie, but there's, it's just drums. There's no like actual, I want to say the percussion's not an actual music, because it is, but there's not a traditional movie score that you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the drums, and there is some music, but it only happens in like key points of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, like, everything in this movie is very intentional.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's just percussion, because it's driving the whole kind of stream of consciousness that this movie kind of has going for it.
Yeah.
So I really like that it's minimalistic, because it lets you sit with the tension of what's going on in the dialogue, and it doesn't detract. And you can see when things start getting tense with the characters, percussion starts getting, more intense. And I just think it really reflects the mood of what's going on really well. That in a way that a big soundtrack would just kind of it just wouldn't be right for it. I mean, you could do it that way, but I really like how they decided to make a statement with the percussion.
Yeah, definitely. The reason why I want you to see it in theaters though is because like movie theaters have like 126 speakers or something like that in them, and you could actually pinpoint like each drum was coming out of like a different speaker, so it felt like you were like surrounded by this drum set.
Wow.
It was awesome. But yeah, just when I went to go see this movie, we were the only people in the theater when the trailer started, and then 2 other random people came in, and they sat in like very different parts of the movie theater, and like 30 seconds into the movie, they were both gone. They walked out.
What? Really? They just were like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, they that intro shot of Michael Keaton in his underwear floating there, and they were just like, "Nope, done."
I guess they were expecting something very different.
Yeah, this isn't Batman. I heard Michael Keaton in Man.
I love Birdman. They ruined this film. What kind of superhero film is this?
Oh my god. Okay, so real quick, Birdman, just some specs on the movie. The reason why most people know about it and it's blowing up is because it was nominated for 9 Academy Awards this year, which is kind of crazy. I'm not sure what the most awards that a movie has been nominated for, but this is definitely like one of the highest ones. I think like Titanic might be the only one that has beaten it out.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah, Levi's gonna look that up while I'm reading this list out. So, it was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Best Achievement in Directing, Best Writing, Original Screenplay, Best Achievement in Cinematography, Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role, Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role, Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role, Best Achievement in Sound Mixing, and Best Achievement in Sound Editing. And
Wow.
it won, I believe it won 4 out of the 9. So it won Best Screenplay, Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Cinematography, which all of those I think it justly deserved. I think it deserved all 9 awards, frankly, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to put this movie in perspective with other movies that received nominations, the most nominations received by a single film was Titanic. You're right, and all of which was in 1997, and All About Eve, which was back in 1950.
How many was?
14 nominations.
I was going to say 14. I was going to say 14 nominations for Titanic.
Wow. Should have said it before I said it.
I should have said it. Oh well.
So the 3 films have won 11 Academy Awards, and that's Ben-Hur in 1959, Titanic. So Titanic won 11 of 14 it was nominated for, and then Lord of the Rings, which Return of the King, which won every single nomination that it got.
Wow. Oh, that's a great movie. I have to say, Titanic is a pretty cool movie. I like when that boat sinks and all those white people die.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why it won so many awards, other than the fact of, like, I don't know, I guess it was emotionally riveting for a lot of people. It has a lot of, like, salience in our society, so...
Yeah,
but I really didn't think it was that amazing in retrospect, at least, I mean, maybe the way it was shot, but I'm also not a huge fan of that movie in general.
Titanic, was Leonardo DiCaprio nominated for that movie? And he probably didn't win.
He probably was nominated, but he didn't win because Leonardo DiCaprio has never won an Academy Award.
Yeah, and never will.
I'm sure 40 years from now, when they make a movie about Leonardo DiCaprio and how awesome he is, the actor playing him will win an Academy Award.
Yeah. So the guy that directed Birdman, the guy behind this movie, Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, I think is how you say his name.
Iñárritu.
He has made a lot of great movies that I haven't seen. Most notably Babel, which you've seen Babel, right?
No, I haven't actually.
That's
But
another
I've heard
like
it's good.
it's like another psychological movie. I think it's kind of like Traffic. You know,
Yes,
so like
I've heard that.
multiple stories coming together, and I feel like a lot of his movies have been that way. And Birdman is kind of that way too. You have these multiple characters, but the main focus is really on Michael Keaton's character throughout the whole movie, even though he is interacting with these other characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have
So-
some theories about that as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So first, we're just kind of gonna talk about the movie in general. Just go through kind of not the entire thing. You know, go watch the movie, form your own opinion, and come back and listen to this. But scenes that we thought were important to us. Many of those probably being the weird superpower fueled scenes with Michael Keaton. 'Cause he's great in this movie. So the movie opens up to... Well, first it opens up to what, like a comet or meteor or something going across the sky?
Yes.
Just a
Which-
brief
Yeah.
glimpse.
Which appears later in the film. So there's a lot of confusion over what the significance of that comet is. I don't know if we want to cover that now, or when we're doing our like deeper.
Yeah, I mean, we can go over
analyses.
the general view of it because, well, sorry to say, the movie actually opens up to just percussion, the starting percussion of the movie, and this quote popping up on the screen, which kind of goes with the subtext of the movie, which is the unexpected virtue of ignorance. And see if I can find the actual line. Nah. I don't know what the actual line is.
Yep, can't find it. Doesn't exist.
Yeah. But there's a line. And then you get this little, like, half a second shot of this, like, fiery thing going through the sky. And then a clock ticking. And Michael Keaton in his underwear, tighty whities, keeping it classy, Keaton.
Oh
Meditating and hovering, you know, like 4 feet above the ground or so.
Yeah. So right away, I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is not what I expected. I didn't know what to expect, but it was not this.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there, levitating in his tighty whities, and immediately you're like, okay, so this is a superhero film? Question mark.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what
Seems
I thought
a little
too.
lofty, because of the intro was very philosophical and kind of vague. Like, what does this opening mean? And you're like, ooh, artsy fartsy, and then you go from artsy fartsy to Michael Keaton in his underwear, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is what
Which
this
is
gonna be
which
like.
is both artsy and fartsy.
Yes, it is indeed.
So Michael's sitting there meditating. His character's name is what? Riggin?
Yes.
So intro to Riggin. And basically he gets a Skype call, I think, from his daughter.
Yeah.
Or you don't know it's his daughter at this point, but it's his daughter. And she's asking him what type of flowers she should get. And he's, you know, just like, whatever, just, you know, you're my assistant, just do it. And then there's a knock on the door. We have the intro of Zach Galifianakis' character. And his interaction with Riggin, you find out that he is basically running this play, a Broadway play, and it's not going great, and opening night is soon, and things are tense. And he's, you know, walking through the guts of this backstage Broadway theater to get out onto the stage, where he jumps in with 2 of the female characters in the movie and 1 other male character that's in the movie very shortly. for a reason that we'll get into in a little bit. So that whole pan out, walking out to the stage, my jaw was already on the floor because this is about 4 or 5 minutes of screen time, and it's all one shot. Him walking from his dressing room all through the back guts of this place, other extras and, characters in the movie, but they're extras. All in perfect timing, walking past him, shooting the shit with him, out walking to these people on a separate stage who were already performing. And already I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And it's just amazing to watch this scene unfold because it, to me, once you find out that it's about this play and you see all these things being perfectly timed on film, and it's almost like, it is intentionally meta where you have like these perfect stagings and this feeling of like you're watching
you're watching a play.
Yeah, you're watching a play unfold on camera. And yet, so that like things are happening and you're waiting for the next, what's going to happen next in this cut. And that's what keeps like the tension amazingly just intense because there's at no point does the camera pan away or cut. And so you're just left sitting with what's going on in each scene, and I don't blame people, including, like you said, Hannah was really uncomfortable. Like, it made her uncomfortable. This is an uncomfortable movie.
Yeah.
It's not easy to watch, and there was one scene in particular later in the film that we'll talk about where I was watching this film late at night, and I just had to stop watching it because I just couldn't. I was like, I need to go to bed. Like, I can't handle this shit right now. I was like, I need to take a break. This is really intense, and I need sleep. So I actually watched the first time I watched this movie was in 2 halves, and it was at like this critical part of the movie. So, but yeah, I love the fact of how they shot it, and I think they shot this in like a really short amount of time too.
Yeah, 29 days.
29 days, yeah.
Which is that's like, most movies, the bulk of anything you make, the most time it takes to like get the finished product out is going to be editing. Editing takes like sometimes a year for movies. So movies are usually shot pretty quick, usually like 3 to 4 months, something like that. But this was shot in under a month, and on a very small budget. I believe it was an independent film, and it's better than any AAA big blockbuster that came out this year.
Absolutely.
Besides maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, which is awesome, but
totally different movies.
Yeah, totally different.
Both amazing in their own right, but I still would. This is a
film.
It's a piece of art.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally, you can watch this over and over again and come away with a different interpretation each time.
Yeah, definitely.
And you don't get that in a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously. It's
I don't know, dude. Bradley Cooper is a talking raccoon. Does that mean that Bradley Cooper is actually a raccoon? Whoa. No, but what you were talking about, to jump back to it being extremely meta, that's definitely the biggest thing that I took away from the movie the first time I saw it, was the fact that I walked out of it and I was like, I don't know if that was a good movie. I really had to sit on it for a while before I was like,
really?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a good movie. I knew it was the best film I had seen since it was the best technical piece of cinematography that I had seen since The Artist, which came out back in like, I want to say 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. Which, if you haven't seen that movie, go see that movie as well. That's a great movie.
I have not, actually.
It's great. It used to be on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but you can find it on the internet.
I will do that.
But it was also the best play I had seen in a long time. I used to go see Broadway musicals pretty regularly as a kid, and I love Broadway. I'm not, afraid to say that. If you think I'm gay for saying that, I'll beat you up. But but this reminded me a lot of a show I saw back in like late middle school, early high school called The Drowsy Chaperone, which was amazing, and it is also an extremely meta play because it's basically this old guy in his house playing an old Broadway musical on a record, and then all the actors come in and like act it out, and he'll like pause the record and walk around and like say what the characters' motivations are and what's like going on and the history behind the music that's playing. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So this film
cool.
and that show are like tied for the best things that I've ever seen.
So, I mean, both of them very meta. I haven't seen The Drowsy Chaperone. This film, though, I mean, one of the things that I love about it is that if, in my interpretation, I see not only is it intentionally meta, but there's also points at which they utilize the symbol of the stage as a way as a plot device, which the scenes they chose from the play that's introduced in the actual movie, which are all meaningful, and they used every single scene as a way to explain what's going on between the characters.
Yeah, you know what? Let's wait till we get to Michael to talk about that. Edward Norton's character, because he is basically the symbol of what the stage is in that movie. And it's fantastic. So where we are right now, Riggins basically producing this play as a way to kind of redeem himself for what he feels is so far a shitty life, maybe a unfulfilling career as a Hollywood franchise actor, and not really being taken seriously by anybody in his life. So he chooses to put on this play, fund it himself, put it on Broadway. He's doing it in like a super quick time, which is very meta for what the director himself is doing in trying to shoot this movie in 29 days. So I think in a lot of ways, Michael Keaton's character is the embodiment of the director throughout the movie.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and I think that I remember the director put. I remember reading or hearing that the director had taken characters and people and instances from his own life and kind of injected it into this play, or in this movie. So again, easy to screw those two up. So I really do think that I'd like to imagine that he saw this play or knew about this play and then decided that he could extract certain things from it and turn it into this film. And then once that had started, he started pulling from these different characters in his lives, and that's what makes a lot of the characters just so human,
Yeah.
There's a lot of just pain, and he uses kind of each character as a motif almost, and introduces them at certain points to drive like this underlying theme. So I really appreciate just how he ties everything up in that way with a neat little bow. As for exactly what the movie means, that's like totally wide open. But I do see intent, and it's hard for me not to see it.
Same.
As such.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? We'll save that for the end. Let's keep talking about where we are in the movie.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
So basically, they're on stage. They're recording. It's Riggin, the two female. I don't even want to call them protagonists because they're such secondary characters, but the two female
definitely
characters.
Supporting characters.
Yeah. And this fourth man on the stage, and one of the stage lights comes down and hits him in the head. and pretty much kills him.
Yeah. Poor Ralph is on stage in this movie for all of 5 minutes before he gets murdered.
Yeah. Or seriously injured.
Yeah,
and,
seriously injured.
You know, everybody runs off the stage at that point, and Zach Galifianakis' character runs up to Regan and was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And he was like, "It's okay, don't worry about it. I made that happen." And at this point, we're like,
I think he was a little bit more distressed, but
yeah. But that's basically once they get back to the dressing room, he's like, you know, Ralph had to go. Ralph was ruining this production. He was terrible. I had to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And,
which is really funny too.
Yeah.
Because, go ahead.
At this point, we're still up in the air of whether or not Regan has superpowers. So to see him use his powers to drop a stage light on this guy that's pissing him off is like, whoa. You know, is this guy a good guy? Is he a bad guy?
Yeah. And at this point, you're still not, or at least when I was watching this, I was also thinking, like, all right, is this all in his head? Is this, is this reality? And even when the stage light hits him in the head, you know, Regan is like, he says, something along, you know, he gives the impression that he's not really sure of what's going on. Like, he thinks he did that to him. He's like, I'm pretty sure I did that to him, but he is still not entirely even convinced himself. At least that was the feeling I came away with. Yeah. So, you know, it's all still very open-ended, and it leaves you thinking, you know, is this coincidental and he's creating meaning out of it? Or is this something that he actually did, you know, with his mind? Or is this all in his mind? So it's all very, you have no idea what the hell's going on at this point. But you do know that we're all really happy that Ralph no longer is in this play because he sucked a lot.
Yeah. So, at this point, what is the actress's name?
Which character?
Even in the script, it just says blonde woman. And
you probably don't know her name yet at this point in the film.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Leslie?
Wait. Oh, Laura, maybe?
Leslie is the blonde.
Okay, Leslie.
Yeah.
I should really have this in front of me, but oh well. Anyway. We find out that Leslie's pseudo-boyfriend, boy toy, is this big deal, this big shot on Broadway.
Yeah.
And she is able to get him in to come read some lines for Regan's play. And this is like a huge deal, you know, yada yada.
Well, basically, she just gets him to do the play, and then he just shows up. So
yeah,
he just shows up and is like, all right, let's throw me some lines.
Yeah.
Essentially, because he's this method actor who hasn't read the script, shows up and is like, I'm gonna be this guy. Throw me a line. And Regan is like, I don't what? You haven't even read the script. And then what's weird is that, you know, so Regan throws him a line, and he responds pretty much amazingly in character. And then what happens next is he says one of Regan's lines. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he drops one of Regan's lines, and he's like, how did you know my line if you haven't even read the script? And Michael, who's just completely sidesteps the question and continues. He's like, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fascinating because, you know, now you're questioning, okay, if he knows the line, why does he know the line? Is it because he's being deceptive and he has read the script and he's just trying to make himself look like he's amazing because that fits into his character? Or is he actually part of Regan's mind and Regan doesn't recognize that he knows everything that he knows? So, I mean, that's the question.